Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Your Football Show and another episode of The Final Word, everybody's favourite Leeds United show, summing up the weekend's game when we've had 24 hours to simmer down, cool down and look at things a little bit more objectively. I hope, anyway. I believe I've got a good group tonight that'll do just that. The chat might be triggered, but you're just going to have to like it because it is what it is. We've got a debut tonight, Alex, from the American in Leeds podcast. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. Thanks so much for having me on. I always appreciate you, Joe. And we did a podcast solo on my channel, just audio version. And I say this to you then, I say it to you now. I appreciate everything that you do for the community, and like your channel in specific is so great because it's so just collaborative and welcoming about all different channels of all different sizes. So big up to you, my brother.
You'd be setting me off crying, mate, before we even start. Thank you for that, mate. That means a lot. And as Joe's put in the chat, it's everyone's favourite brand new Leeds YouTuber. It's Evie. Evie from Discourse of a Peacock, by the way. How are you, Evie? You good?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on as a new YouTuber.
It's brilliant. And Lockie, looking suave as anything in that bloody jacket, mate. I can't lie. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I love it. It's great. I got it. I was like, I don't, when you see it on pictures, you're not sure, but yeah, it's the right material as well. Yeah. I'm good. Yeah, I'm feeling really good today. I'm feeling happy about Leeds, to be honest. I've had some time to think about it deeply and stuff because I'm weird and I do. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because yesterday, genuinely, I got off that post match and I was confused. I was like, what? Why do I feel like we've lost? Like, what's going on? Why is everyone downbeat and why is everyone still? It almost felt like the vitriol for the manager was worse than it was against Burnley, and we lost that game. And I'm genuinely going, what's going on? So I went out and went on a nice long dog walk with my little ones. I listened to some different opinions. I watched the highlights back, and this morning I was like, no, like what we're doing, like at the end of the day, we won a game of football. Evie, we chatted briefly after the match. Like you were surprised as well, just how downbeat people were. Like how do you feel after yesterday?
I'm happy we won. We got 3 points. Like it's just he can't seem to do right for doing wrong. We want to win, but we don't want to win that way. We want to play well. But we want the 3 points are more valuable than playing well. Okay, so we don't play well, but we kind of play well, but we don't get the 3 points. We get 1 point. All right, so we play well, but we slip over, then we get no points, and then we play okay, get 3 points. You just, whatever Farke does, everybody wants the opposite. So, people saying that they'd rather lose because of and play well, that's just bullshit because you don't want to lose and play well. It doesn't mean I don't want to watch ugly football. And yes, it wasn't the most thrilling game yesterday at all. But you can't make it into kind of prime Barcelona when you're playing a Cardiff City that didn't want to get out of their own half. Like, it's hard to look impressive when the opposition are so weak, but also they acted very similarly to like Arsenal in the Man City Arsenal game, where it was just a complete kind of solid wall. And if Pep can find it difficult to beat a low block, then what's Farke gonna do? I just don't understand the whole point of last year when we first played Cardiff, we dropped 2 points. This year we beat Cardiff, but we're more miserable. The fact that we beat them, I just don't get it. Last year we dropped points to every single team that got relegated. We dropped points to last year. We dropped 3 against Birmingham, 2 against Rotherham, and 2 against Cardiff. So far this season, we've dropped 2 points to one of the bottom 3, which was Portsmouth. So we've got, out of a possible 9 points so far, we've got 7. When this time last year, having played the 3 that ultimately went down, we've got 4 points out of that possible 9. So we're getting the points out of the bottom teams, which we didn't do last year. So I don't understand why people can't be happy for a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And the funny thing is, now that we're beating them teams, you're not allowed to use that as a something to go in the pro column because they go, well, they're rubbish. You should be beating them. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Like, what are we doing here? Because last season we didn't. And that was the reason we didn't go up, according to some. You know what I mean? So now we're beating them. It's like, that's not good enough. You've got to be beating them. I don't know. It just... Yeah, Alex, I'll come to you. How's it been from a view from across the Atlantic, my man? How's your view?
I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy with the result. 3 points is 3 points. It's huge for us. There's a gentleman that I respect that's been a Leeds United fan for longer than I have, 20 plus years, and I won't reveal his name, but he said he wants to sack the manager even if we go up, and I was just absolutely floored by that because he didn't say that last year, and I don't know if he certainly at times in the media and things like that hasn't done himself some favors by what he's saying. But then I also take that with a little bit of salt because I feel like he might be leveraging more money out of the 49ers, at least in the offseason. But, I guess my punchline is I'm happy. I think he's got to get the front four right. It seemed like the governor was on yesterday a little bit with we weren't really expressing ourselves, I think, to the best of our abilities and putting away chances. I mean, Aronson should be on like 5 goals by now. He's making some good movements, but then he's also timid at times. There was like a moment where he could have run into acres of space and he laid the ball off to Jaden and I just Bogle. And so I think there needs to be a little bit more crispness in the final third. I like Ramazani. I like both the goals were taken well, and our quality eventually showed. But he needs to do a little bit of work, I guess, in the front four. So I don't know. I can't blame Farke too much right now.
No, I hear you. Because I've had many conversations, Lockie, and my thought process this morning was a case of saying, right, okay, so if we score the pen, that's 3. If Aronson finishes his chance, that's 4. And we're not having these conversations. So I almost feel that the profligacy of the players in front of goal is causing issues for the manager. And it's not his fault because he can't fucking put them in the net himself.
See, for me though, Joe, even if we did get 4, I deeped it, I still think people would complain. Yeah, and that's what made me sit there and go, I just don't think it's... I think there's always going to be now for a long,
Do you
long
think
time
people dislike the man? This is what I'm coming... So. In my head, I'm starting to think, do they just have a dislike for him? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I think so. Because like you said, and it weren't like we created chances in a 10-minute cluster. Throughout the game, we constantly had a chance, We're a bit slow in between, but we had a chance, big chance missed, 10 more minutes, big chance missed.
Yeah.
It's feasible that on any day, if players are clinical or more clinical, we genuinely could have won that game 4-0. And I genuinely still think there's a lot of people who wouldn't be happy with it. The fact that you could feasibly win a game 4-0 and people not be happy with it that's when I'm sat there going, yeah, I don't think everyone's ever going to be on board with him.
Yeah.
So then I sat there and I thought, so this is my opportunity now. I think I have to be because of that. I don't think it's fair. Yeah. I genuinely don't. Look, of course, we will always come on here and criticize something we don't enjoy about the performance. That's fine. But it's getting to the point where there's no... have we ever had a performance this season where those people have literally sat there and gone, yeah, that's all right? It's always either, it's either, yeah, it's the bottom of the league, or yeah, it weren't good enough, get him sacked. It's never a, yeah, good performance, we move on. Where's that gone? It feels like there's never that. And I just don't think we're ever going to be happy if we do that. And we've got to be, because, we've got a good opportunity here. I think we've got some really good young players, still need a lot. They've got a lot of learning to do, some of them players. Let me clarify that. We've got a manager who can, I know it's easy to say, but he is the best person to get you out of this league. You can sack him and bring anyone you want in. There's no proof that they can do it at this level. It's a tough, tough league. Look at Mark Robbins, one of the best managers in this league. Look at him. He's struggling. He's probably under a bit of pressure, to be honest.
Coventry fans were calling for him out yesterday on Twitter, mate.
Exactly. And he's one of the best in the league. And he is. And he's done really well. He's struggling. It's tough. I just think, yeah, are people ever going to be happy? There's always going to be Bielsa there for me, and I think, and rightfully so, people want.
He's ruined
that
football for us,
reputation.
mate. He's ruined football for us.
We got warned when he joined about being his widows when he leaves. Said it always ends bad because when he goes, you think it's good. It isn't. There's always a void there. And no matter who comes in, they're never going to be that guy. You can watch any kind of championship game, you can watch any Premier League game, and most of them, the football you watch is not going to be as entertaining as Marcelo Bielsa's. You could bring in a Carlos Corberán, you could bring in whoever you want. The football will never match that in terms of entertainment. I was watching a game today. It was Preston and
Blackburn, mate. Preston
Blackburn.
And
it was entertaining in the sense that it was a big physical fight, end to end, long balls, physical battles. I'm thinking the Leeds fans want that because that's the alternative for me. We're not that team. We're a different side. And although I like us to be more aggressive and physical, we play a way where we don't let them teams do that against us. You know what I mean? I saw Preston play some beautiful football, or they don't do that against us. We have the ball for 90% of the game. You know what I mean? We are a good side. The manager is good. The players are good. There's just some learning to do for me. I don't know. I'm going to back him now because I've had enough. I think it's too much. After that, just to end it, I can't. We absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, it's mad. Do you know statistic? Did you hear the stats I read out earlier on? That's the highest possession Leeds United have had in a single game since Opta started recording games ever in this league.
And I know I know it can be slow, but that doesn't mean he's a bad manager. That doesn't mean he's a bad coach. That's his personal preference of a style. And it won us the game very, very comfortably.
He's risk averse, right? He's like, I don't want to concede chances, but we're still going to dominate. So
and that can win you titles, Joe.
Yeah, 100%.
Look at Diego Simeone. You can go on, all these managers that play like that. Jose Mourinho was a boss at it for 10 years. No one beat him because he'd set you defensively first. Simeone is exactly the same. Even Ancelotti, he sets his team defensively first and lets the front players enjoy themselves. That's what Farke's doing, and I respect it. And that can win you titles. But what you do need is them front players to be clinical. That is vital. And they have to learn that. It's as simple as that. Because like 100%. I said, you could have won the game 5-0 easily.
And do you know the mad thing is there's another stat that Johnny Cooper read out in that Leeds have faced the fewest amount of shots in this division since records began in the first 6 games of any other side. Yeah. So
since
again,
first game, obviously the cup that we changed the team.
Imagine taking that Portsmouth game out, by the way. It'd be fucking insane.
Wow.
That was just
unreal defense.
Yeah.
Unreal.
It's crazy.
We're not far off being brilliant for me. But we have to learn, and I have to clarify that there's things we have to fix. The set piece thing is a problem. Look at City today. They couldn't break down that low block, but they were always a threat at set pieces, Man City. The best teams in the world are always a threat, and we're not right now. And that is a big worry for me because in these games, we can't rely on a set piece, and that's huge.
Well, Arsenal have got points in the last 2 games from set pieces, haven't they?
It'll get you 10 to 15 points a season. It'll win you. It's a lot of points, and that is a big concern for me. The clinical side of it, sometimes the pass detail it's a bit slow and behind them and stuff like that. And set pieces, they're the 3 problems for me, not the way we play. You might not love it, you might not enjoy it wholeheartedly, but it's effective if you're clinical.
Yeah. And Evie, just to come to you now, like Lockie's mentioned so many points there, loads for you to get into, but I think the important thing as well, no, it was great, mate. The important thing as well to know, Evie, is that this is actually Daniel Farke's best ever start as a manager in this division.
Yeah.
And he's won the league twice and got 90 points. So he's actually ahead of where he normally is at this stage. So we should take that as a massive positive as well, Evie.
But that's not good enough. We're Leeds United. We shouldn't have dropped a single point because we don't deserve to be beaten because we are the Man City of the Championship and nobody's better than us. Okay, back to reality. Well, the thing is we are going to have those times. We are going to drop points. We would be ridiculous. Look at Ipswich. They had an absolutely astounding season, back-to-back promotions, and they still dropped points against us, twice. So you're always going to lose points. And yes, we've dropped a few points, one incredibly erratic opening season game, then obviously a needed draw against West Brom, which again, in hindsight now looks like a brilliant point. And then obviously Burnley, who are again a year one parachute payment club. So, and they've managed to hold on to a lot more people than we thought in the few days before the end of the season. Trafford was the man of the match for that game, which again tells you what you need to know, is the fact that we did have chances, we just didn't convert them. But I think, Lockie, you made an excellent point about the fact of Bielsa's widows. It kind of got me thinking of, you know, I know we don't like to mention, especially the red side of Manchester, but they're in a similar predicament right now. You know, they haven't had a manager that they felt emotionally and kind of on the pitch connected to since Fergie left. I know obviously he was a lot more in, you know, it has to all be taken into context of what we think is good and what obviously is expected for a Premier League manager. But we are the same. Do we really want to become that toxic fan base that won't give another manager a chance, especially when on the pitch we're earning points? That starting four yesterday have played minimal amount of minutes together, and they still converted enough chances for us to win the game. And the midfield and the defence did enough that we didn't concede either. So we did enough in a fairly infant team when you think that everything has to gel together. Because yes, people like to say Farke got a pre-season, Farke chose the team, you know, Farke got the players in. Actually, a lot of the players that are now making the impact are the players that weren't here until the last week of the transfer window. So they didn't have a pre-season with us. You know, Ramazani didn't have a pre-season, Solomon didn't have a pre-season. They've got goals and assists. So we're still getting the job done with a team that's in its infancy. We've got more clean sheets than we did do last season. We've got, are we on the same points, or are we on a couple?
No, more. We've got more. Yeah, we've got more. Yeah.
So literally, there is nothing to complain about. You can.
We will find a way. We will find a way. Will we do?
But like Lockie, you always say, you know, you can't complain about results, but you can complain about the style because that's your personal preference. But you can't argue that the Farke's management style is being effective, regardless of whether we enjoy it as a spectacle. You know, we enjoyed Bielsa's football, but how many times did we scream at the telly for him to just shut up shop? You know, and Farke shuts up shop, and we're complaining about it. We scored the goals that we need to. Yes, we should have been 2-0, you know, in the first half. You know, Ramazani misses probably an easier chance than the one that he scored. Aronson misses. You know, Joseph misses. You know, there's so many misses, but we still get the job done and keep a clean sheet to boot. So we walk away with our 4 out of 6 clean sheet of the season, 3 points in the bag against a bogey team. We did everything that we needed to do that a lot of the time previous Leeds teams have failed better in terms of cohesive. I'm not saying that Bielsa had a better team, but I'm saying that Bielsa's teams were incredibly well drilled. And by the time we went up, most of that team had played together several years, even before Bielsa came along. So we're doing everything that we can do, and we're getting clean sheets as well. Like, I really don't understand. Yes, I'm not saying Farke in for the Premier League. I'm saying, why say Farke out when we need to get out of the division? I don't understand people's argument when they're saying, yeah, but he's not going to be good in the Premier League. We need to get there first. We have to get there. What's the point of thinking about next season? You know,
it's like saying, don't play Sam Byram now because he's not good enough for Prem.
A lot of the players, Joe.
Don't play. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Don't play any of them because they can't play for us in future. So just bin them off now. You know, it's mad. And
can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Sorry, just to interrupt. When you know, obviously, there's this massive argument that Farke has better players, more successful players, Premier League players. Have these Premier League players that we have been successful in the Premier League? So then, where are they? You know, they're in the Championship because they weren't good enough for the Premier League. You know, but it's just an irrelevant argument. We've got a more expensive team, but Chelsea have a £2 billion squad, and yet they haven't won anything either. So why are Chelsea not miles better than Liverpool or miles better than Arsenal when they've got a squad that's double, triple the size, and let alone double or triple the amount that they've actually had spent on them? Money doesn't mean like decent players. It just means you've probably made some bad financial decisions at some point.
100%. Alex, any thoughts, Mama?
Yeah, I just think there's a ton of pressure on this season. I think if we have to go up, you see that from the board and everything. I think it's just going to be the third season in the championship is going to be really hard. We're going to weaken, right? Even more than we have. And so I like Farke. I mean, I don't think we should change Farke. We have to get out. There's so much pressure to get out of the division. We have to keep him. He knows the division. He knows how to get out of it. He's done it before. He's fairly calm in the fact that he's traditionally had slow starts. He said in the media that he was probably happy with everything. He looked really unhappy in the sidelines for most of the game because he wanted more goals. To play devil's advocate, I think, right, the things that I always hear from people that are negative in the negative space that is Twitter or X, it's too slow in build up. One friend, Michael, says ponderous. I thought he fixed that yesterday. I thought it was better in build up. I thought it was just a little timid in the final third between the front four. The blueprint to beat Leeds United and under this Farke era is to nick a goal and then sit deep. It's difficult to do that, but if the rest of the championship somehow figures out how to do that week in, week out, then it's I don't know. I feel like we probably wouldn't deserve to go up, but I don't think that'll happen. And his substitutions are, I don't know, questionable at times, but he backs who he backs. I think it's going to be interesting to see how he comes out this next game with Ramazani scoring a goal, and if any of either of the two wingers, Solomon or James, are eventually available.
And he got them right yesterday, Alex. We have to. This is what I mean. No one will give him praise for the fact that he brought. Because I'm doing the watch along, going, "The fuck's he bringing Pirro and Byram on?" And then Pirro goes and scores and kills the game. Because if it stays 1-0, Alex, it's even more nervy. You know what I mean? Whereas Pirro just killed it stone dead. Then at that point, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. Pirro. I like Pirro as a super sub. I think he's going to come on and put the game out of sight every week. I would keep that exactly the same. I do want to see something more out of the 10, whether that's Nanto coming into the 10 or Aronson moving out, because I don't know. Sometimes I like Aronson there and sometimes I don't, because I just think he was a little bit, he wasn't. Do
you know what? I'm just going to throw some at you now, because I've spoken now to 3 American people and they have all been massively critical of Brendan Aronson, more so than what we are. And I don't see the problem in the 10. So I find it quite interesting. I just wondered, is it because the expectancy of him from American fans is much higher? Like, genuinely, it's just a question, because 3 people have been on and said it.
I think it's like it's like your kids or something. Like, you're hard on him because you want him to be so successful.
Yeah.
Like, when I see the fact that he could be at 4 or 5 goals on the season, like taking off in the championship and really pushing his career on. So it's kind of more like that. Yeah. I just want him to do better. I want so much for him. So I'm harsher on him. Yeah.
Yeah. I bet that's, but it's quite interesting though, just that the Americans tend to be more critical. I think he's playing well, you see.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Lockie?
I was just going to say my favorite part, after, even just on like the team and stuff, in the press conference where he's speaking about why he brought Pirro on, he literally, in paraphrasing, but he basically said he brought him on because he wanted to show these guys how to finish, because he was so fed up and annoyed by the fact that, and he said this, he said, they've got to die for the finish. And I love that, because he wants these guys to be deadly in front of goal. He wants them to be clinical. He's asking for it. We're all asking for it. It's a clear thing that needs to happen. He brought Joel Pirro on, and Joel Pirro, look, criticize him what you like, the guy finishes. And that's exactly what he did. And that's the standard Farke's setting for the other young guys. They're all young. I saw people trying to say that he's telling Ramazani not to do backflips. That wasn't the case. What he said was, you can do these backflips, but don't forget the main purpose. because he could have had 2 backflips yesterday.
Someone had a proper go at him, saying, "Imagine having a go at him like that." And I went, "What are you?" He never said that. Like, what are you doing?
Because he was talking about, when the penalty came in, we were not prepared for the rebound. That's the wrong mentality. He hates that because you should be always ready. Like you said, die for the finish. Their only chance in the game came from our goal from kickoff because we were not ready. We were still celebrating.
Yeah.
This is what it means. You need to be brutal in these moments. He wants these guys to be deadly. And this is clear to me that now saying what we're saying about the mentality that they're not deadly enough yet. They're not clinical enough yet in the mind, and they need to be. I just love that bit when he said that in the press about you've got to die for that finish. Yeah. I love that bit.
100%. Horse in the council fat for the super chat says, "Hi, thank you, mate." He says, "Hi, hope you well. A good result for Leeds yesterday. A win is a win." Yeah, exactly. Do we have to accept as a fan base that we are going to have a trade-off? We are always going to be, and I think my opinion is, in my head, is now I have to come round to the thinking that we're going to be risk averse. We're going to defend first rather than blow teams away. Like, that's what I'm sort of coming round to the idea of, is like, and I think everybody needs to start coming round to that idea. I don't think we're playing bad by any stretch of the imagination, but my point is, I get why people maybe sometimes, the second half yesterday did feel like a bit of a long drawn out thing. But then I look at the numbers behind the defensive side of it, to not concede open play chances, like the most since record. That is insane, by the way, and he's not getting enough praise for that. And I do think we have to maybe come around to the idea of, what, like you mentioned, Lockie, a coach who we won't mention, who managed a certain team, said defense wins you titles. And ultimately, I had someone say to me in my comments, well, them teams haven't tried to score against us. And I'm like, oh my God, is that what we're doing now? It's like, so they came into the game and went, right, let's not try score against Leeds. Let's just stay like this for 90 minutes. I'm like, what are you doing here? Of course they did. Unfortunately, Leeds just hit the soul out of them. Can you imagine Cardiff players coming off that pitch yesterday going, fucking, I was like man against boys. We might not have even, you know what I mean? Because they had, well, what was it? It had been 21% possession. It's nothing.
I saw a great comment earlier, Joe. I can't remember who it was from, but he said, it talked about what Carlos Corberán said after. He said he feared Leeds. Didn't want to give us that chance. I was watching Hull with Sheffield United the other day, and you were watching it as well, Joe, weren't you? And Hull were bopping about. They were moving it. They were tearing them apart at times. They just weren't clinical.
They didn't do that against us, did they? No, not at all.
Because we don't allow teams to do that. And that's because the way we play the game, you know what I mean? That's our style. We could probably trade a bit more. We could probably do that. We could probably go end to end. But the manager's looking at the squad, and I don't think he wants that kind of scrap fight, because I don't think he thinks he's got the personnel to be in those battles. I think he just wants us to purely focus on.
I think this is a great comment. Like, if we have the ball, then they can't score. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's Pep's as well. Keep the ball. Look, like I said, you can criticize the speed of the pass, the movement at times, the communication is always a bit off, but these teams are not getting it. And in fact, these teams have to be clinical. When I mean clinical, I mean one chance, one goal. They have to be to get a goal against us, because we're not going to give you more than one or two. We're just not right now anyway. That could change, obviously, but it's such an underrated feature to be solid defensively. Now, I think if we really get that right, and the front players click and become clinical, we could win games 2-3-0 easily, because we've got the players to do it. We just, like I said, it's just that learning for me in the final third.
And that's the thing, innit? Like yesterday, again, we're coming back to it, but had we have scored in them times where we had them big chances, then it wouldn't have been boring, because it's like 10 minutes between a goal or whatever it had been, 10, 15 minutes, yes, scored, restart, right, we go again. Oh, we scored again, right? But, yeah, and then it's like, whereas, because it took so long for us to score, and it was against 10 men, like, maybe it's, I think we're just moaning and bitching for nothing, really.
Just to say as well, Joe, quickly, I was just going to say, even when they had 11 men, nothing was different. Let's be honest. They had nothing at all. They didn't even look like doing anything with 11 men. So I wouldn't have changed it for me, to be honest. No, definitely not. Dale with the super chat says, why is this even a conversation? We've got another 3 points and a clean sheet. Sitting fifth better than last year. A record away is unbelievable. Leeds fans need to stop with the agenda. He's got to the end of the season. And at the end of the season, we'll be a Premier League team, Dale. So well, well put, as been said. But Evie, I want to touch on this away record, because
I know we've only played 3 games, but people say get a point a game away. We've got 7 out of 9. And we've not conceded a single goal away from home. That's insane. If that continues for half a season, for a full... Obviously, we're going to concede a few, but if you were to ask any manager in any division, you go away from home and don't concede goals, they would snap your hand off for that. They would snap your hand off. And we're sat here going, fuck, not good enough, you know? It's insane, Evie.
It really is. It's crazy. And I think one of the reasons that we're probably doing better away from home at the minute until, than we are at home is because of the pressure that Ellen Road feels and the fact that I think I mentioned this at some points last year as well, that sometimes we do better away from home because the fans that are going to be very loud. They're going to be incredibly supportive, incredibly vocal, and they're going to make the place feel like a miniature Ellen Road with the amount of noise that they make. And there isn't as much pressure when you're away from home because, like you said, you want to get a point away, and anything more than that is brilliant kind of thing. Whereas at home, especially with the hangover from last year, not getting automatic spots, not getting, not winning promotion via the playoffs, those last 2 games at Ellen Road that were awful, we're still feeling very much, in my opinion, the hangover from that at home. And I think that actually it's easier for us to right now to gel on the road, and then we kind of will take that away momentum, hopefully, back into Ellen Road, and then Ellen Road will become easier to get the wins in, and we'll push on from there. So I think right now, actually, our away form makes complete sense because Ellen Road has been flat for quite a while. A lot of games last season, it was quiet. And we've got this expectancy and this dread and this fear and this entitlement as well that we should be better than we are. And right now, and for the majority of the last 20 years, we've been a championship team. So the fact that we had 3 years in the Premier League in the last 19 years has given this kind of warped sense of where we should be. And right now we have to earn our way back. We don't just get a ticket back to the Premier League. And I think the away record will help because it will then make the home fans feel more comfortable, feel more relaxed, feel more upbeat and support the team, and also with the Ramazani goal celebration, it made my heart do a little happy jump because it reminded me of kind of Rutter from last year, just the joy and the fun that football hasn't been for a long time, and actually obviously we yes, you take the last kind of 10 games out of last season, it was brilliant. It was so much fun. We were winning games, we were singing, it was just amazing to watch, and kind of you were really proud to tell people that you were a Leeds fan because it's like, oh, you're doing so well, you're going on an unbeaten run, you've not been beaten at Ellen Road, everything was so positive. So to have that kind of joy of somebody doing a backflip, which you very rarely see just in football above kind of championship level anyway, I felt really happy that we had. I just wish that we could have converted a few more chances and then we could have, all been doing backflips and ending up in hospital and stuff.
I just want to respond to this. Glenn, no disrespect. What's happy clapping after a win? Are you okay? Have you banged your head? I don't know if you're all right. Happy clapping isn't helping. We've won a game of football and we're happy clappers. I don't understand it, Glenn. To be honest, but what will happen is this is what will happen, folks. Unfortunately, Farke outers will eventually be right. Okay, because ultimately the time will come when Farke gets sacked. And then you'll all be able to say, see, I knew back in the chat, even though he might have got us promoted to the Premier League and kept us up first season, but eventually he'll go and you'll be able to go, see, I told you. But I keep saying it and I say it with chest. I always stick my head above the parapet. Just chill with it. And the reason I say that is because you're not going to be able to enjoy it when we get promoted, right? Because ultimately this season will culminate in Leeds United being promoted under this manager, right? And like Farke told us last season, it's better to support, because when you don't support and it goes right, you can't really enjoy it. So I would maybe go, you know what, we're winning games. Like, what more do I want? What more do I mean, I've seen some takes off friends of mine saying, is it wrong I want Cardiff to score? I seen someone say, I'd rather lose 4-3 than us win like that. And it's like, why are you lying? Like, why? Like, surely that can't be true. Like, I honestly, my mind is just it's insane, man. It's insane. I don't know how to stress how important it is to enjoy this, folks, because I feel like, I know it's not as good as Bielsa, no way, but I said the same things under him. Like, ultimately, you say you want to get this manager sacked. Someone comes in. What if it goes worse? What if it gets worse than winning games of football? Because the only way it can get worse is for us to lose fucking games of football. Because at the minute, we're winning. We've lost once and you want him sacked. So what's the only difference is to win them all, and which is just unrealistic because no manager wins them all. So then you want him sacked, and if this manager comes in, the only way really for me is down, not up. So I mean, scratching my head, honestly.
Honestly, mate, yeah. And just a finger to Glenn, like on that, it's almost like people want perfection in every way, shape, or form. You know, if it doesn't look exactly what their mind's saying, if the subs are exactly on the exact minute they want them on, you know, it's get the manager out, want a new one in. That's Chileno behaviour. You know what I mean? The guy that's literally what he would do. Let's not be like him, shall we? It's crazy, man. It's too much. It's too much. Like I said, you don't have to love it, but love being a Leeds fan. Enjoy the fact that we're winning. How many how many seasons in the last 16 have we won football games consistently or looked like dominating teams? Not in my life. About 3. Like, I'm loving this. I'm all right with it. Look, I don't sit here go, oh, this football's amazing, but I sit here and we're winning games and I'm all right with it and I'm happy. And that's football. That's what you want to be. And just on Glenn, like,
yeah.
Go on. I was just going to
go ahead.
Right, well, just on what Glenn said real quickly about that. Look, to give a counterpoint, I do think at Ellen Road, I think it's a different atmosphere, like you mentioned. There is more pressure there. The fans expect something a little different to the way performances. So maybe we do need to be a little more proactive, a little more aggressive, or that will be a problem because we've seen when we play at Ellen Road, the fans are not, well, a lot of the section of the fans are not happy with it. They want more. And as a team and as a manager, you do have to recognise that because that is the identity of the club and that's what they want to see, right? You want that crowd to be crazy every game. So these little switches that you can make home and away. And I think we do need to do that to a small extent. Nothing crazy, just a little bit for me.
And what we're saying is to Glenn and all the other people that are negative is that there's nuance here. Like this conversation, what Joe is allowing on his platform right now is nuanced conversation. We're taking a zoom out, looking at the entirety of the season and what he had to deal with. I'm not saying like giving excuses, but there's some context that needs to be added to the fact that you want to be negative about the manager. All that being said, we're not saying that the man doesn't have deficiencies. There are some things that are maybe deficient in his managerial style. To me, it doesn't seem like the system's the deficiency. You might be able to say things like they're slow in build up or they're ponderous in build up and things like that. But it seems to me like he's working on that. There might be some issues about, the quickness, the nuances of the passing, like Lockie was saying, but absolutely, you want to say some of the the substitutes, which he got right, as Joe pointed out yesterday, that's all fine. But in the grand scheme of things, it's 3 points. It's something to build on. It's a platform to build on, and we can continue maybe a nice run of fixtures over the next 4 games and, keep the string of clean sheets going and keep 3 points coming in and climb up that table.
Do you know what? I'm just gonna dunk on a few people now as well, right? Hopefully this rounds it all off because I'm look when as as Alex was so rightly alluding to, obviously, we're having a conversation. Are the deficiencies? Yes, they are, etc. Right? And then I thought to myself, I wonder if anyone's created more XG than us this weekend. So I just put in the search bar XG in the Championship. I'm going to reel some numbers off for you in a second, which will blow your mind. But before I do, I want to speak specifically to my good friend David. Okay, who is a good confidant of mine. Okay, we didn't need a late goal to seal the win, because we could have won 1-0. That's fine. They were down to 10 men for 3/4 of the game. Did you watch Arsenal City? These things happen, right? And when you talk about it being a bigger picture, it's not just about this game. This is where these XG and these stats come into play, okay? So, in the Championship this season, XG, right? Leeds second in the league with 10.6. XG against, 3.3, first in the league. XG difference of 7.3 plus 7.3, first in the league. Shots on target, 30, first in the league. Pass completion, 84.8%, first in the league. Passes per 90, 538.3, first in the league. Passes into final third per 90, 39.3, second in the league. Tackles in the attacking third, 22, first in the league. So every single metric there, Leeds are no lower than second. And we are being critical. And when you're saying, can you not see it's about this game? This is where I throw it back to you and say, the numbers say different. The numbers say Leeds are basically in control of every single game we play. The only game we weren't in control of was the first game of the season against Portsmouth, I would argue, because of, how hectic that was. Even the loss against Burnley, Leeds were in control. We just couldn't finish our dinner. And ultimately, Leeds United's could and should have scored more. But I just think we're looking for perfection. And ultimately, if you look at the metrics, we're almost close to it, and it's still not good enough for certain sections of the fan base. Love, Dave. Exactly. I love it.
Now, just a quick thing. The metrics that will not be good will be conversion rate. That will be horrible.
Yes. Yeah.
Set piece goals will be horrible. Those ones will be bad. And that's the problem. Everything is good. Everything that the way Daniel Farke wants us to play, we are doing. That is proof. Now, again, you might not enjoy it, but that's the way he wants us to play. And that's what's going on. But I ain't got the conversion rates, but I guarantee you they will be bad. And that's the problem for me.
8% roughly.
Right.
About 8.4, something like that last time I looked. It's right. Okay. It's a lovely stat that I've got.
What is it compared to others, Evie, if you can?
To be fair, actually, we've gone up to the dizzy heights of 9.1%. So,
that sounds terrible, though. 9.
Oh well, but that's always been my issue. It's been my issue from last season, and it has continued into this season. And one of the things that I would say is that when you look at total shots, Burnley are third lowest in the league, and yet they have scored the joint most amount of goals in the league. Their conversion rate currently stands at 22.4%.
Look at that. That's crazy.
So if we just tweaked a couple of percent, just a couple of percent, we'd be top easily. And that was my issue from last year, and that is my issue that has started again this year, and that's on the players. That's not on the manager. The manager can't put the ball in the back of the net. And going back to the whole perfection thing, people want perfection. People don't want anything less than perfection. But guess what? Perfection doesn't come to the Championship. Simple as. So you're asking for something that will never happen, because if they are a perfect manager, they will be playing in the top league. They will be a Prem manager. They will be in, one of the other top 5 leagues across Europe. They're not coming to play 46 grind out games in the Championship if they are perfect. So what you want does not exist. So just accept the nearest damn perfection that we have in Daniel Farke, and accept the fact that the players also loses games. The players also have lost us points. Yes, the manager's substitutions can be questionable at times. Yes, it can be frustrating. But like Joe's just pointed out, there are so many metrics that say Daniel Farke's plan is incredible right now. It is, and it is working. It is efficient, but the players have to execute that plan, and that is something that Farke cannot control. He can't control Joseph, missing. He can't control Nonto missing from 3 yards out. He can't control any of that. That is the players' responsibility, and those players are so protected by the fans so much of the time that they won't allow them to be at fault for anything. And as soon as they do something right, it is all the players, when actually the metrics, the design of the game is created by the manager, and he's created a really successful plan. But the players have to, they're being paid extortionate amounts of money for what you and I all get paid.
Yeah,
they're all grown-ups, regardless of how young Mateo Joseph is. He is still an adult with adult responsibilities. If he wasn't a footballer, he would still have to pay his own way in life. So if you can do that, then you can put the ball in the back of the net. And that's not me criticizing Joseph. That's just me saying they have to take that responsibility. The manager gives them all of the tools. The only tool that, again, Lockie, you've said, is the set pieces. They're abysmal, absolutely abysmal. But that's been a running theme for years.
Since Bielsa,
going back.
They were shit against Bielsa.
Gary
Monk era last time.
Yeah. That's been actually my entire, fandom. We've always had to generate a lot of chances to put in goals since I've been a Leeds United fan. And I think the elephant in the room that we're not saying, but I know we all would think at times, is that the shirt is heavy. The shirt is heavy for the manager. The shirt is heavy for some of the players at times. And, we're a different club. And there's somebody that keeps, chiming in about Jesse Marsh's metrics and stuff like that. I would counter argument with Jesse Marsh used XG for, but then never looked at the XG against. We were shipping goals. We were being carved wide open. The XG against was always higher.
Sophie's a massive Farke outer. Don't worry about him, man. Massive Farke outer.
But Joe gave you everything. Joe just gave you XG against, XG for, all different stats. So and we're at the top of the table for a lot of that stuff. So.
Yeah. And I do, again, I'm a bit like Lockie. I feel like I have to fight the fight for him. When we talk about the subs, there's no praise for the Pirro substitute that won us the game or sealed the victory. There's no
as well with Pirro
against Hull City, right? Or was it Hull City or Chef Wednesday? Hull City. Where they were actually coming into the game and we go kill them on the counter due to a sub from Daniel Farke. But we forget these moments, you see, to fit the...
Because it doesn't fit the narrative.
I think, look, you've been on there. You've all been on our own channels, other than yours, Alex, where we criticise the way we played at times. We criticise some decisions. It's all out there. It's not that we're not saying it. We do. I've made videos on what we should do better. Like, we've all done it. There is times the manager's got it wrong this season. Of course there is. There's also, you're all right to admit, there is times the players got it wrong. Yeah. And when you're not finishing your one-on-one chances or your clear goal-scoring opportunities, they've got that wrong.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah. This is more so on the players. Right. I was just about to say, shall we be more positive? But I mean, I feel like we have been positive, but in a way that we're trying to put out fires. Yeah. We're fighting fires with it as opposed to let's rejoice. We're smashing it. Look, we've got Coventry at the weekend. Now they're not in great form, but will be a very good side against Leeds United anyway, and I fully expect them to adopt a low block and try catches on the counter. I think they're not having a great start to the season anyway. They've won just 6 points from an available 36 over their last 12 championship games, so not going well at all. I almost feel that cup run that took them to the semi-final of the FA Cup against Man United absolutely ruined them, and it's just continued to get worse. They gave a good showing the other night against Spurs, but then lost in the league to Swansea. But Lockie, I'll come to you first, mate. Are you expecting any? I think he'll go with the same lineup unless Solomon's fit. Does he go with Solomon? It's a big game, this, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people are maybe giving him the Cardiff one to the bottom of the league. They're like, right, now we've got some tough games. So it'd be great.
Fair, that's fair as well.
Yeah, it is fair. Yeah.
It is. This is a much tougher test. And look, we're talking about these things about Farke, but again, we keep saying this. If in 3 games' time we're struggling and there's no real wins there, draws and stuff, we will be more critical and we will say this needs to change. But this is the process. And Coventry, regardless of form, Mark Robins will set a side up to be competitive no matter what.
Yeah.
I think the game against them, the second time we played them last year, I think they absolutely destroyed us. I remember Hadji Wright and was it Sims? They bullied us, absolutely bullied us. And they'll try the same. They'll do the same. Van Uwick as well, top player. The guys in the middle, the midfielders, they have a very good. It's a good team that are struggling. So I wouldn't underestimate the position in the league. I'm sure Farke won't either, and he can't. That would be a mistake. They're a good team. Matt Robbins is a very good manager, and this will be very physical. He will set us up to try and distribute what we're doing, try and make it slower, turgid, aggressive type of game, a dirty type of game if he needs to, because they're down there and they're struggling right now for their standards. And that's what teams do. They rely on each other, and that's where it can get an aggressive type of game. And I just hope we're up for that fight, because last time we played them, we weren't. And for me, that was one of the downsides of the season, at the lowest parts, that when they battered us. I remember the performance was terrible. They bullied us to death. So hopefully we've learned from that. That's my worry. Have we learned that physical side of it to deal with that? Again, if we're really good on the ball, we can probably negate that physical side of it and just move it quicker and get like we do with our style of play. But I'm confident, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be that easy at all. I think they're a good showing at Coventry. They've got good mentality there, and I like the manager, and very physical, mate. Probably one of the most physical teams with quality as well. So it'd be tough.
Yeah, it will definitely be.
It'll be tough.
Yeah, it will be. And I remember that game, like you said, they came to Ellen Road, and I remember Callum O'Hare dancing in the train station because they got a point and that at Ellen Road, and then obviously they beat us down at their place as well. So they were very good, and they will be dangerous. But Alex, it'd be huge, wouldn't it, if Leeds United were to pick up 3 points? We need to start making Ellen Road a fortress again as well, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to make Ellen Road a fortress. We need to get stuck into the game. We need to get, I think, score first is key in this match. They do have players that can hurt us up front. I mean, from an American perspective, Hadji Wright was playing with a little bit of swag with him last year. He's got 2 goals so far this year in 6 matches. They're coming off the loss. And once again, we can't be, making them feel better with any kind of results at Ellen Road. So big test for Daniel Farke. And if we get 2, we get back-to-back wins. I'm hoping that we it's like lookout time. We climb up this table.
Yeah. Easy. Any thoughts with the nod to the weekend? Would you make any changes at all?
I would probably keep it the same as the team that started against Cardiff. They played well. Obviously, we don't want to rush Solomon back because it's a long season. So having him out for a couple of games isn't going to be the end of the world. Even if he's on the bench, that's fine. He's a great option to have on the bench. But Ramazani got a goal and he started and he played well and he could have had a couple of goals. So for me, I think that would be incredibly harsh to drop him. And I think Farke's quite loyal. If somebody plays well and does well, the other player who's out has to earn their way, back in again. So I think he will start that same team. I would maybe, if things are getting physical, be interested in seeing Schmidt on for Farke at some point. Not like for him to start, but he would be maybe one of the people I would look to substitute.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Is there any other thoughts? Any other thoughts or feelings that we would like to discuss?
Up the whites.
Up the whites, yeah.
My concern on the physical side of it with Ramazani is Farke mentioned in his presser about the physical side, didn't he? He's done it twice for Ramazani now. So is this the game for him? If Solomon is fit, will he bring him back in? I think he's a more physical player. I think he can deal with that more. But Ramazani's playing well. He scored a great goal. He played decent for me. Can still improve, obviously, but he played well. There's decisions to be made. And I agree with the fullbacks. It's going to be tough. They've got some good fullbacks, especially Van Uwick. But I think, I don't know about you guys, but I thought Firpo defensively against Cardiff, brilliant. Any 1v1 he had, he read it. So that's not a concern at this level for me now.
Will we see a change in midfield that probably 80% of the fan base want to get rid of my man Ilya and just get him out of the side and send him back to Bulgaria if they could? I don't think we definitely won't see it against Coventry, will we? I don't think that's the game for it either, if I'm honest.
No, I'd stick with it. I like our midfield at the moment. Look, Joe, I love Tanaka.
Yes,
Grue's doing the bit at the moment, and look, when it doesn't work in a game, Farke gets it wrong, and it doesn't work, and then there's a conversation. Right now, we can play Tanaka, but I think Farke just really likes this kind of defensive unit we've got.
Yeah,
and he wants the front four to win us the game, not the midfielders. So yeah,
100%.
I do like the fact that he's had more shots at goal so far this season than he did the entire last season. He's certainly you could even say he's more effective than Kamara.
Yeah, definitely. Well, 100%. I think that's fair, Evie. And for those that are saying Joe's got his own Gabe, the only difference with this one is he knows what he's talking. He knows what he's talking about. Does this one?
I've had Gabe on my channel. He's a smart guy. So
Gabe.
No, the game's
that's what someone was saying. They were saying, "Oh, Joe's gone and got his own Gabe." I love it.
You've done amazing if you think about it. For political correctness, you've got a foreigner and a woman on your channel, so you are ticking so many boxes.
Like I say, this one knows what he's talking about, though. Yeah, definitely. Well, folks, I think I don't know what more else there is to say other than Leeds United won and Farke in, and Coventry next. Like, do you know what? Like, I just want us to win every game so I can fucking go like this to all you Farke outers, man. I'm telling you, it's mad. It's genuinely mad. But listen, thanks for the support on the channel. Before we go though, Alex, you want to tell them about American in Leeds, mate?
American in Leeds, YouTube channel and Spotify. I try to do content every Monday and Wednesday, and it's more of a long form podcast on Wednesday. And I love Leeds United. Like and subscribe to me there. And other than that, listen to Joe all the time.
Legend, mate. You're a legend. We'll get the channels put in the chat as well. Lockie, I had someone praising you actually earlier on my thingy saying watch Lockie's video. It was brilliant. Do you want to tell people about your channel?
Yeah, that was just a video I did. Was it this morning? I can't remember. Yeah, I did it last night, but I released it this morning. Yeah, 4 a.m. I was feeling it a bit. I wanted to fight back. So yeah, I know, crazy man. But yeah, so there's a video there about style. Leeds United, is it important and stuff like that. I'll be doing a video, I believe, tomorrow, the day after, on Ethan Ampadu, because I was really impressed with him. So I'm going to do a breakdown of Ampadu's performance and why I liked it.
Good stuff. And folks, the channels are getting put in the chat now, so please click either Oliver or Danny's comments, take you through to American in Leeds. Make sure you're subbed. Same will be done for Lockie as well. Look, here we go. There's one sub there. Lockie is boss. Good analysis, says Bielsa's knee. Sean's just subscribed to American in Leeds as well. And last but certainly not least, Evie, do you want to tell us about your new YouTube channel?
Yeah, I've actually got a video out just a tad later than previously planned.
Just a full 12 months after the fact.
It's only like 6 or 7, Joe. Stop exaggerating. So I've finally got a video out, but I'll be putting another one out tomorrow on like my review of the game. But I'm, spoiler, I agree with Lockie. I thought Ampadu was brilliant. He seemed to be back to his last season best yesterday. But I think it was a compliment because I said to my husband, I haven't noticed Ampadu. And that's what he did last year. He just went around and absolutely bossed the midfield. So yeah, that will be appearing at some point tomorrow.
Good stuff. So there you have it, folks. I want you to all make sure you're going over. Everyone's channels are in the chat now. Lockie's, Discourse of Peacocks, and of course American in Leeds as well. And if you haven't already subscribed here, please do that as well. Great show tonight. I felt we put out a lot of fires. So hopefully those that are watching like after the fact feel a little bit more better. than you. Yeah, the current. Better. Yeah. It's not a word, is it? But yeah, just be happy, man. Leeds are winning games of football, man, because next year we'll be in the Premier League and we'll be fucking begging for wins, man. So just enjoy it. Enjoy it any which way they come. And yeah, cool. Anyway, see you in a bit, folks. Have a nice evening.